There is nothing with fasting and praying, depending on which religious persuasion one is in. But that in and of itself cannot solve the problems. God has given us the intellect, the ability to achieve what it is that we desire. And we have seen it happen in this continent. Before we were disrupted, there is now evidence that we attained amazing technological feats. Here in Ghana or in Benin or in Ethiopia, Africans did amazing things. And we see other civilizations doing those amazing things. And what we are telling our people is, let us roll up our sleeves and engage in the business of invention and innovation. We can pray all we want, and there is nothing wrong with it. But if we believe that out of prayer, without any effort on our part, all our problems will be solved or resolved, then we are deluding ourselves. Remember, the dominant religions have been midwife to the continent of Africa from other continents. And you and me will remember that Christianity, as was midwife to us, was midwifed in a manner that was designed to subdue us. I remember in one of the early statements of Kwame Nkrumah, he said that when the colonialists came, they came with the administrators, they came with the anthropologists, they came with the missionaries who told us, store all your treasures in heaven where there is no rust nor moth. And meanwhile, they were taking our gold. They were taking our things because they knew that the divine instruction is to use the sweat of our brow to improve the quality of our lives. And I think that the time is now that Africa must not see religion as the avenue to prosperity. Africa must see the use of our intellect as the avenue to prosperity. We've got to invent, we've got to innovate, we've got to improve our agriculture, we've got to improve the things that are going to change our lives in a positive manner in this transition from the fourth to the fifth industrial revolution. And that is happening before our very eyes. And we have no excuse. We have seen during our very lifetimes how countries such as South Korea, countries such as Vietnam now, China, Japan have transitioned from backwater countries technologically, and they are now in the highest pedestal of achievement through innovation and invention. And that is what we are telling ourselves, that the time is now for our institutions, whether they are universities, whether they are technical institutions, to get into that space of invention and innovation. If you look at the critical meaning when I say that third world is a state of mind, you remember this creation of first, second, and third world. These were terminologies that have been used by Western Europe particularly to describe the economic development of other countries. Remember, at one time we were third world, then at one time we were underdeveloped, then at one time we were developing, and we accepted that state. And when I say there is a state of mind, it means that it is in the mind that things must change. Look at the Japanese when they got into the motor vehicle industry. Look at the Koreans when they went into mobile telephony. What happened? They simply said, we are going to do things differently. And they told their universities, we want you to engage in research, and we are going to invest in research and development, and we are going to patent. Today, if you look at their presence in those spaces, it's because they changed their mind. But have we changed our minds? If you look at your typical African university, do we have investment in research? Are they enabled by their government? Is there an interaction between universities and private sector in a manner that gives birth to patenting and innovation and invention? There is not. And I'm saying that that change of mind, the change of mind that tells you that you are not a lesser being, that you are capable of achieving what human beings can and have achieved, is what is going to turn everything upside down and make us achieve what we ought to achieve. Look at countries like Singapore. What do they have? Nothing. Look at Malaysia. What do they have that we don't have? Look at Vietnam after the war in 1975 is now going into a totally different space of industrialization. Nigeria should be in that space. Ghana should be in that space if you had continued on the trajectory that was put forth by Kwame Nkrumah with Energy, Akosombo and Tema and all. Kenya should be in that space. And many other African countries should be in that space where the Singapores and the Malaysias of this world are, and the South Koreas. We were economic partners in the 1960s, and they made the right decisions. We must make those decisions, and we must implement them, and they must be time-bound. We have entered into enough treaties. We have signed enough accords. We have made enough declaration. Let us now declare that for the next 10 years, we are going to engage with a view to producing, and producing in a measurable way. And this is where the diaspora comes in. That worldview, that nothing is unachievable, is what we need in order to achieve. We live in a continent where the political class enjoy things that are enjoyed by any political class in the most developed of the countries, and yet their citizens cannot even have access to the basics. Let us cut our coat according to our size. Let us deal with the basics. Let us not be leaders of a people who are deprived and humiliated and cannot afford basic things. And I think it is Tanzania's Julius Nyerere who said it so very effectively and passionately. Development must be understood contextually. The Americans may characterize development as landing on the moon. For our purpose, we'll characterize development as our ability to supply potable water to our villages. And once we do that and you supply the basics to the population, then you can enjoy the dividends that come with production in your environment. The tragedy is, in many African countries, the political class want to live the lives of millionaires while their population is in poverty of unmatched proportions. The time is for us to change. And Chinua Achebe once said, when you read his book, Anthills of the Savannah, he said, I do not know from what inexhaustible wells of patience the African draws. His or our leaders constantly abuse them, but somehow they are attracted to the same leaders who abuse them. In other words, it would be called the Stockholm Syndrome, where the captured loves the captor. Unity is not about thinking in a similar fashion at all times. Unity is about exploiting our diversity in a manner that allows us to exploit our strengths. So we should be unified for something or some things. As long as we are human beings with different intellects, we'll always have different perspectives on different things. But the most important thing is that we must unite to achieve economic dividends. We must unite to create an environment that will enable the continent of Africa to thrive. We must unite for positive things. There is a book written by Professor Ali Mazrui. The title is The Power of Babel. All of us are used to the Tower of Babel as being the metaphor for division and the dominance of centrifugal forces. But Ali Mazrui says there is power in Babel. You come with an idea which I do not have. I come with an idea which you do not have. You come with an attribute which I do not have, and I come with an attribute that you do not have, and we combine them, and lo and behold, we create something that is powerful. How can we use Ghana's cocoa for the benefit of the continent of Africa? How can we use Nigerian oil for the benefit of Africa? How can we use the lithium in the Democratic Republic of Congo for the benefit of Africa? How can we use coltan or uranium from Niger for the benefit of Africa? It is that kind of unity that we should be talking about, pulling in the same direction for the purpose of realizing things that are for the general good. In other words, as one would say it, you need different players playing different instruments to create an orchestra. The Chinese leader Mao Zedong once said, to do all the things that we desire to do, we need 10,000 years. We don't have 10,000 years. Act now and play your part.